Today, I'm welcoming back a very special guest to the channel, the Lexus ISF. Bilal's Lexus ISF. And there's a few reasons why we are welcoming this VIP back in today's video. Number one is Bilal has done some more upgrades to it, and I'm gonna go into that a little bit. But the second thing is something that rarely happens on this channel. And today I'm gonna take this ISF for a drive on the streets to do some driving impressions, as well as answer the question, should I trade in my Toyota Supra for this ISF? I'm Dustin Mason from Performance Lexus in St. Catharines. Make sure you hit like and subscribe for more Lexus related content. And don't forget to go back to some older videos of the ISF versus the IS 500 and also a little bit more of a deep dive. So before we go for the drive, let's get reacquainted with the ISF and start pointing out some changes from the last time's video. The first one is the front bumper. Bilal used to have the novel bumper, and now we have the walled bumper on there for a pretty catastrophic reason. Something happened to the last one. And I know in the comment section, people are gonna say, well, the other one was so much better. I actually like this setup more for a few reasons. I really like the two-tone contrast with the carbon just peeking out. And this bumper just reminds me more of my tuner days, which was a big part of the history in the ISF. And it just, I don't know, maybe it's the angles, maybe it's the lines, maybe it's the fit and finish, but it does remind me of the classic JDM tuner culture from, you know, Need for Speed Underground and stuff like that. Obviously, we have the spindle grille and the really more modern, updated daytime running lights that have some features like, you know, flicker and sequential and stuff like that. A little bit of that angry eyebrow painted on the top of the headlight. I know some people love that, some people don't, but something that no one can argue with how amazing it is on the side profile. And if you walked by this car, you might miss it at first. And really, what that is these F badges. The coolest part about these F badges that I like, yes, it's got that brushed, burnt titanium look, but there's another detail that ties in well, and that's the paint color. This isn't actually a Lexus factory paint. In fact, when the sun hits it, it has a little blue shimmer, and it's a very similar shimmer to this custom F logo. Speaking of custom F logos, if we get down and look at his really cool wheel setup, I can't remember the alloy wheel, but I know a lot of you can. We have those F brake calipers just like on the RCF. In fact, they're the same logo, the same color, and they're a big brake kit, so how can you go wrong? Another small detail that I keep forgetting about, but is really cool once you see, is also the tinted windshield. And no, it's not, you know, a dark tint to be able to hide your identity or anything like that. Instead, it just has a little bit of color, and I'm overusing that word shimmer, but I have no idea how else to describe it, where it's got a little bit of a shimmer to it so that it just looks a little bit different and a little bit cool. So at the back of the ISF, we have some more modifications. The biggest being this huge carbon fiber novel rear diffuser. I can't remember the price tag on that, but it's huge and is well worth it in my opinion. This custom exhaust that sort of Frankensteined a few different exhaust companies, but it still kept that quads look. And let me tell you, it sounds amazing. And this duckbill spoiler that integrates, again, the really nice titanium Lexus emblem. But one of the coolest party tricks of this rear end is the taillights. The sequential new design taillight. So it's just like the new ISs and IS 500s where it goes from one side to the other, but as aftermarket companies sometimes do, they took it a step above where it does that little decoration that you saw on startup and looks super, super sharp and three-dimensional in person. However, the coolest thing of this car, and one of the newest modifications, is on the inside. So that's right, this ISF actually has new RCF seats in it. And it probably makes it the only one in the world that has it. So the RCF seats were always something that caught my attention when that car first launched. I liked how big the bolsters are. I liked sort of the 4-point harness looking mesh above the shoulders. Of course, the fact that it's like a one-piece back and it doesn't have the headrest that goes up and down, but somehow still remains super ergonomic. And just seems to fit in this car perfectly without losing things like heated and cooled seats as well. And I like the nice touch of the leather matching on the gear shift with that new setup. Last time I sat in this car, it had like the factory white leather seats. And from what I heard, the rear seats were even harder to do. So the rear seats are also RCF leathers. However, it was way harder to fabricate because the RCF back seat is very different from the ISF back seat. So what Bilal and his team of creative car enthusiasts did was take the skins off of the rear RCF seats and then sort of stretch and mold them to the rear of the ISF and add some padding and stuff, and even had to do a trip to Fabricland for these side pieces here that somehow matches perfectly and was able to still tie in the F outside pieces that have the logo on it. And even with all that stretching and moving around fabrics and stuff like that, they still look great. They're super comfy. They look a little bit more satin than the front seats, but I just think those front seats are in such great shape. But still overall looks like they just belong here. And that's what makes this a super, super rare ISF build. Okay, I'm too excited to keep talking about all of the features inside the showroom when really, let's take it for a drive and see if it's worth trading in my Supra for. Okay, so also, this is new for us to film at nighttime, in a car especially, so bear with us, but still excited to be able to drive the ISF. Right away, the exhaust is unreal. I mean, I love the sound of my 2JZ, but there's something about a V8 with proper exhaust that is hard to beat. This car is definitely tight. It's low, but the suspension so far doesn't feel too bad. I did scrape just a little bit. To be honest, my biggest worry right now isn't going to be my vision and stuff. It's gonna be, are the cameras gonna stay in place when I actually punch it? Because we know I am gonna punch it once I get the chance, once we get on the highway. Headlights are pointed a little bit down, I noticed. So we'll have to get Bilal to tweak that a little bit. My Supra's the same because it's a right-hand drive, so the way that my headlights are pointed used to be set up for the other side of the road, realistically. Okay, so in the city, it's good. It's super well planted, really smooth. There we go. Okay, he's got switchbacks. If you don't know what switchbacks are, they're a headlight LED system that when you turn them on, they're a certain color, usually like a white, and then you turn them off and back on, and it switches them back to like a yellow, which is really JDM. It's kind of like a JDM thing to do. My brother has them on his pickup truck and his motorcycle. They're cool if you want a little bit of an aesthetic without having to sacrifice getting like a ticket if you live in an area that you can't have something like that. Okay, we're getting on the highway. I'm gonna punch it in a few seconds, so just brace ourselves here. Okay, let's see what this puppy can do. Damn, okay. It hooks up well. Actually, I can smell the exhaust from inside the car right now, which is wild to me. A little bit of drone, but nothing too crazy. That power was fun. So we're gonna get off the highway now and just try it again. I can't just, like, the thing about this car is it's a muscle car. And that's what that sounded like to me, is like when you're at a car meet and some guy in his V8 American muscle, oh, that's crazy. Even the high beams are switchbacks, which is crazy to me. Some guy in his V8 muscle car peels away. That's what this car is doing when you punch it, is it's like, it's hard shifts, like they sound hard. You hit that rev limiter a little bit. I'm just gonna roll down my window so I can see better. And we're on a little bit of a country road. I like to test drive out this way. For anybody that has a car that have bought from me, I will sometimes test drive out this way because it's a little bit bumpy and a little bit windy. Okay, launch. Traction control made that nice and grippy, which I really like. We're going about the speed limit. Really quick acceleration and smooth, man. This car is smooth. For being a sports car with modifications, it feels great, to be honest. Like, this is a bumpy road that if you were driving something like a Toyota 86 or something with like a smaller wheelbase or maybe not as heavy a car, you would hear like dun 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 as you drive on this. Even with his wheel setup, which is an aftermarket wheel setup, low pros, he's got sticky tires on, I will say that, and that does help with a little bit of this. But overall, man, oh, this is good. We're gonna try out the paddle shifters now. So I'm gonna put it in manual mode. First thing I always do in manual mode, I'm in 8th gear right now as I punch it. Oh, I love that, you guys. Okay, so if you didn't know, there is a difference between a manual shift and a sport shift. This one says M beside the D, which means manual mode. And what that means is it won't automatically downshift. So some of the sport ones will automatically downshift when you're in like 8th and you punch it. This one, you have to do it manually, which is sick. And when you do it manually, I'm just doing some downshifts. We're gonna do some upshifts a little bit up the road. Ooh, yeah, okay, that's cool. That one was a little bit much. I went down into 1st. Again, I'm gonna roll down my windows so I can see, and we'll do some rollers. Let's go, let's roll. I should have prepared the camera guy for that. Ooh, nice, yeah. Overall, really good shifting with these paddles. And they're kind of like metal feeling too, which I forgot about. Reminds me of the LC. I actually heard a little bit of intake there. Ooh, that downshift. Oh my gosh. Oh, I wish I could do that again. Bilal, your exhaust setup is amazing. Okay, we're gonna go back into 3rd. I'm actually going slower than the speed limit right now, and I just want to downshift. Unbelievable. That's really nice. And I do get that in my Supra, but it's manual, so it's different, I feel like. I feel like I'm doing more to make it sound like that. Where in this one, I just hit that little blipper. Just get that blippy. Really nice. Okay, let's talk about the comfort. So I'm going about 80 kilometers an hour right now. On like a country road, it's a little bit back. It's not the highway, it's like a city street, I guess you could say. It's a little bit bumpier. And I feel, so even though it's an aftermarket seat, or not an aftermarket seat, but a modified seat, I'm really centered, I feel super planted. The armrest is still in a really good spot. I will say, my only complaint in this car, Bilal, is the windshield. The tinted windshield gives it like a cool look from the outside of the car and cuts down any glare on the inside. Like cars coming towards me, it doesn't take, like it feels like when a car is coming towards me, there's no glare from those headlights. So it doesn't take up, the headlights don't take up as much as my windshield as they would normally. However, I think because we have all these lights on in the car so that we can film, it's harder to look out than normal, I think. I think that's what it is. But normally, I mean, the fact that it cuts down that glare, I do like. I don't mind that at all. So that's that. The seats, like I said, super comfortable. I really like the steering wheel and like that carbon fiber look on the steering wheel. Overall, this is a great touring car, I would say. Like, looking at it modified from the outside, I was skeptical whether this is like a car you can drive for extended periods of time. But when you actually get in it, and like, I think the seats have a big part to do with this. The seats and the suspension for sure. It feels like you could just get on the road and just go. So that's a huge thing when you're looking for a car like this, because the ISF is a track monster, or it can be a track monster, but originally people just used it like a touring car. And I know a lot of people who actually daily drove these cars because it's such a reliable platform. I mean, I think that was when gas prices was a lot cheaper, because now I'm sure if we ask any ISF owner if he or she would daily it, and I think they would say they would, but they can't afford to because of the gas prices. And that's like it is with my LS, and actually my Supra too, because of the tune that I have on it. I'm gonna put it back in regular drive, and we're gonna do another little pull here. We'll just wait. Ooh, a little tunnel. Oh my God, yeah, that's sick. That was just a little tunnel we went under. I see the blinkers are going quicker. That's because of the aftermarket signals usually. Probably just have to put like a resistor in or something. Here we go. Yeah, that's shifting. Like, I remember reading that this transmission was one of the fastest transmissions, not just for the Lexus lineup, but when the ISF first came out, it was one of the fastest shifting automatic transmissions in the world. And I mean, I just assumed that we've come so far since then that it wouldn't be like that anymore. But even driving this car after driving brand new cars all the time, it does a great job. That is a great 8-speed transmission that this car has. In terms of wind noise, I mean, even with the sunroof visor open and the very Alcantara hood liner, by the way, it's super quiet in here. I mean, that drone, once it gets into 8th gear, even going like highway speeds or around highway speeds, I don't hear much of a drone. Even when I'm on the gas a little bit, like on a little bit of a hill or whatever, it's still super, super doable and comfortable. Okay, so one of the other things I'm noticing while I'm playing with the paddle shifters is depending on the RPM range, there is a really distinct difference in the sound of the exhaust. Like between 3,500 and 4,500 is really nice. So like I'm in 5th gear. Oh yeah, right there. So 5th gear, 3,500 RPM. Oh my God, that just sounds unbelievable. I'm a big fan of the similar engine setup on the LC500 and how it took 5 years for them to engineer the exhaust on the LC500. But this, my friends, there's no crackle and pops. So it's just throat and orchestra, right? Like this is back when engines didn't have to have these crackle tunes and like those burble exhausts. And it's just a linear sounding grunt as someone is driving down the highway, just like that. And then when you start to get in it a little bit with a little bit more throttle, you hear a little more raspiness. Like it's like someone clearing their throat. I could drive this car for hours and be fine. In fact, if Bilal ever sells this thing, I'm gonna be, well, he's probably got too much money into it, but I would be signing up for maybe a higher mileage ISF in the future at some time. Because I probably would drive this every day. I don't see why I wouldn't. And it just sits happily at high speeds. The whole car is designed for it. You can tell. You can tell that the aerodynamics is designed, the brakes are designed, the suspension is definitely happy at any speeds going around corners. Ooh, there's a nice sound. I'm just gonna listen to that. The decelerating downshift, next level. And the best part is he's at the dealership right now, so he's gonna hear us coming down the street in his ISF, which his friends say he doesn't push hard enough, but that's what we were doing here today, so. I had to do a little. We're gonna do my little trick of decelerating and then just touching the gas. Oh yeah, that sounds good. That was really testing what we're used to. So, you're probably wondering, what's the verdict? Should I trade in my Mark IV Supra for this ISF? The answer is I would want both of them because in my opinion, even though they're both JDM legends and are amazing sports cars and in the tuner world are super well respected, they're both a little bit different. The ISF could be a car you drive every single day and put 300,000 kilometers on. And in fact, I've seen that done time and time again and still be able to customize it and make it your own and get mad street cred like Bilal did here, where my Toyota Supra is a little different. It's so unique and hard to drive that I barely drive it anymore. Just, you know, on special occasions like a Sunday, a sunny Sunday. And if you want more about that video, you can check out my other channel, which I'll post below. But for the Lexus ISF, I think I would need to get my hands on one and drive it every single day. And if you ever see one for sale, you should buy one because there are not going to be many of these left. So I'm Dustin Mason from Performance Lexus in St. Catharines. Thank you for watching this video. Let me know in the comments below what you would choose between the Mark IV Supra and the Lexus ISF. And I'll see you in the next video.